Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Apocablog. Day 1454 of thinking that we are in so much trouble if the potted plant actually manages to steal this fucking election. During an interview with CNN's host Jake Tapper, the potted plant elect was asked if he would end President Trump's tariffs on China, and should the Chinese government, in your view, be further punished for mishandling and hiding the truth about the novel coronavirus that began there. I'm amazed they even admit that much truth. But so potted plant elect replied, Jake, the president's approach to China has been backwards. Right, yeah, backwards. Make China pay. That's backwards. That's our job, right, fucking Joe? My concerns at the beginning, I've spoken about it. I've met with Xi more times than anybody had up until the time we left office that I'm aware of, and that's not a qualifier, Joe. So is to make it real clear there are international rules that if you want to play by, we'll play with you. Yeah. Hey G, take that one to heart. This motherfucker's gonna creep up behind you and start sniffing your fucking hair too. And if you don't, we're not going to play. If that's not the strongest incentive that he could possibly give, I don't know what is. Number two, it's not about punishing them for the COVID virus. Why would it be? It's because of them and the COVID virus that you are literally this close to stealing an election. It's about insisting that there be international norms that are established that they play by. Now, that almost sounds like a cogent, rational policy. And now we're going to discuss why it's not. Top Trump administration official in his address to a group of people in Phoenix, Arizona, said that China's efforts to control the mind of people residing beyond its borders is well underway. So NSA operative. In addition to propaganda and influence operations, the Chinese Communist Party uses trade to coerce compliance with its dictates. When Australia called for an independent investigation of the coronavirus origins and spread, the CCP threatened to stop buying Australian agricultural products and to prevent Chinese students and tourists from traveling to Australia. When Australia refused to relent, Beijing put these threats into force, imposing an 80% tariff on Australian barley exports. China now heads 4 out of 15 UN specialized agencies. That's more than the US, the UK, France, and Russia, the other members of the permanent members of the UN, combined. So China uses these leaders to force international bodies to parrot Beijing talking points and to install Chinese telecom equipment in their facilities. Now, what's the end result of that? Well, under Beijing's thumb, at a completely unacceptable cost of human life, Director General Tedros, whatever the fuck, from the World Health Organization, dutifully used his Chinese talking points on the Wuhan virus. As late as mid-January, he claimed that there was no human-to-human transmission of the disease and opposed international travel restrictions, adding at the same time that how much he praised China's own domestic travel restrictions on Wuhan residents. So, in other words, they could travel overseas and infect the rest of the world. They just couldn't go to Beijing or Shanghai. Yeah. Beijing has used its financial might and market access to pressure Hollywood into self-censoring, incentivizing directors and producers to avoid topics that might not make it past the country's censors in China. For example, the Japanese and Taiwanese flags were dropped from Tom Cruise's flight jacket in the upcoming Top Gun sequel, Maverick. MGM dutifully changed the identities post-production of the invading military from China to North Korea in the Red Dawn remake. And that doesn't end there. Hollywood studios are teaming up with Chinese studios in a way that gives China access to U.S. technology and industry know-how. China's Tenant Pictures has partnered with blockbusters such as Wonder Woman, Bumblebee, and the latest Mission Impossible. Legendary Pictures, studio behind Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy and Jurassic World series, is owned by China's Wanda Group. In the long run, as with other American industries, the People's Republic of China may be less interested in cooperating with Hollywood than co-opting Hollywood and eventually replacing it with their own homegrown productions, noting that 8 of the 10 top grossing films in China last year were produced in China. So that has a chilling effect of basically it allows Chinese officials to shape what Americans see, hear, and ultimately think. Kind of like the way what they're doing in our colleges. Because Hollywood studios voluntarily change characters and plot points in order to gain access to Chinese markets, the Chinese officials now control just what audiences see, in, not just in China, but in America as well. And it's not to promote American individual rights and freedoms. The party is also collecting our most intimate data, our words, actions, purchases, whereabouts, health records, social media posts, texts, mapping your network of friends, family, and acquaintances. China accomplishes this goal in part by subsidizing hardware and software, telecom, and even genetic companies. So when you mail your shit to 23andMe, you're mailing it right to Xi Jinping. That's got to make you feel good at night. As a result, corporations such as Huawei and ZTE undercut competitors to install their equipment at a loss. They don't care because they want the info. Now, why does China want this information about foreign nationals? I mean, yeah, I get why they want to control their own people. Why do they give a fuck about America? I can promise you that it's not for our betterment. So, getting back to good old Joe and it being about getting China to follow international norms, that's not going to be a problem, Joey, because China's the one setting the fucking international norms, you dumb fuck. Folks, by the way, can we all pay attention to how much they're setting those norms? We're walking around in masks. We're literally forming registries. We're being locked up in our homes. We are living under martial fucking law, much like China. But at least New York has this. The Chinese Lantern Festival on Randall's Island in New York City will go on. Think about that.